Welcome back to the Air Crown Crypto channel. Wishing you a happy and healthy start to this nice little Saturday morning over here from a bright Helsinki, Finland. Anyways, a little bit of a later start to today's video as I needed a little bit of extra sleep. Again, major wishes for the, major thank you for the well wishes that I received over the past couple days. Seriously though, it's all good. Been very mild. Just need a little bit of extra sleep and then all good in the hood. So today's video, I want to be focusing on more short-term, medium-term time frame stuff. We'll also follow up on the weekly closure for CME, of course, and then tomorrow I want to save all of the long-term content for that because there are several things to be adding towards our more long-term macro views that we've been evolving over the past month and a half that are still very much validated, and now they are showing the next sort of steps forward. So with that in mind, what else should I let you know? Let's start off with the Crown Chain application. Of course, you can find that in the link description below. It's also free, as is the Jewel Light, but that's going to be vanishing very soon, so cherish it while it's still there. And oh yeah, and also Instagram. There's scammers on Instagram. I only have one account. It's in the link description below if you happen to give a fuck. All right, cool. So let's actually start it off with the Crown trading application here. There is actually one major development that's happened in the last 48 hours that I really want to follow up on. Other than that, there is not too much here today that I want to be focused on. I really want to be saving that for tomorrow. But the biggest thing that I think holds a significant amount of weight is, of course, the global open interest. And what do you know? As we kind of theorized, it is coming down yet again after hitting one of those extreme levels. If you want the full explanation on these extreme levels, I'll just briefly go through it. I don't want to bore the shit out of people who've been here for a while, but basically anytime we've seen the global open interest representing leverage positions above 13 billion, that has led to at minimum 20% corrections and at maximum 50-60% corrections. So I'll just briefly run you through this. We see on this chart right here, the first iteration whilst getting to those regions was of course in March of last year. That precipitated the dump from 60,000 to 50,000 bucks before recovering on to new all-time highs at 65 before going down to, where was that? $30,000 lows in the summer, of course, then recovered again for the September rally, of which we did see another one of these washouts going from 53,000 to 40,000 pretty much in one day, and then hanging down there for almost a full month. And after that reset, Bitcoin marched its way back on up towards our current all-time highs at $69,000. Great number right there. Before coming all the way down to where we're at right now at about 40,000 bucks. The reason why this is relevant and why I continue to focus on this is because once again, we saw this extreme level hit more recently in the last couple weeks of December when Bitcoin had that failed rally to $52,000, just setting in another lower high on the daily. And then we are seeing this come back down and reset. And in the last 48 hours, the reason why this is very important is that we are seeing it once again come down a little bit right here as well from our highs a little bit earlier this past week when Bitcoin did dip back down around its current low side structure at the low $40,000 territory. In fact, even just a little bit lower than that. All's well and fine from that metric. However, with that said, we are starting to see it actually come down alongside Bitcoin, more or less trading sideways here, which is a good sign as it does suggest that shorts are very likely closing their positions. No, there ain't no fucking short squeeze. Jesus Christ. I can't believe I keep on hearing this. Just kidding. It's not that I can't believe I keep on hearing this. Just... shorts get squeezed in uptrends, not downtrends, man. Anyways, shorts closing, the ones that are like massively in profit. And then yes, the very over leveraged shorts, yeah, a couple of percent move is probably going to rattle them a little bit, but those are not the people who have the size to move the market anyways. We're talking about the people who actually have, big classic size. Anyways, with that said, I'm still looking for this to come down a little bit lower. Anywhere around 11 billion is where I start to really look at this as, a good reset. If you could just visualize a nice regression drawn from the summer lows to the September lows to the more recent December lows, well, that kind of put us around 11 billion or so, maybe a little above there, maybe a little bit below there. But that's where I do start to look at this as, of course, reset. Now, again, I do want to express this idea that naturally we expect the floor of this open interest to naturally rise over time to represent a maturing asset as the market cap grows upwards and onwards. But for right now, when you're comparing this to just like a month ago, we really haven't seen that much of a change. So I would expect something relatively similar to that. And that would be overall good, of course. But still, as we've been suggesting for the higher term timeframes, which I don't want to get too much into today, of course, it is relevant to be aware that even if Bitcoin is going to put in a bottom right here, which it very well could, and we will go over that case tomorrow. It's very likely going to take some time. I don't think that there's any major rush in a position. When I say major rush, I mean like, you know, in preparation for a major massive breakout to, you know, perhaps even new all-time highs or just even back around upper $50,000 territory. So with that in mind, let's start off with CME today. CME already closed its weekly for Friday, or sorry, on Friday, yesterday, of course. And where did it close? It closed about 43,120, or just above 43,000 bucks, which is going to be a good insight into what we kind of expect spot to do on Sunday, tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern time, as they typically are extremely related to each other by fucking definition. Anyways, what's important about this is that the closure was actually right around that green 55 XM2 average. And when I do see something like this, especially for like, you know, 2, maybe 3 weeks on end, where you break a major movement average like this, especially the 55, and then you kind of chop around there and don't really get major continuation, in this case to the downside on a closing basis, those are trappy situations. So I do think that that is a potential going on from here, but a potential does not mean the same thing as confirmed or verified. We'll go over what would actually confirm this later, of course, but for right now, I just wanted to quickly and briefly analysize that. And also what I want to show on CME, something that I presented a while ago, and then I haven't talked about it ever since, which is kind of silly because this is rather interesting here. And while this chart is still very much valid, I really only need a couple things to be working with here in order to kind of show what I'm looking at. And that is, whoops, my bad. That would be this massive formation right here, creating Mr. B's favorite formation, which is of course the falling pizza. And yes, this one actually would kind of fit the bill for that. If you actually have it on linear scale, it's a little bit more of a channel in this case, of which, or actually, is it more of a channel? No, it is. It's more of a wedge, whereas the log scale is a little bit more of a channel in this case. Either which way, these are typically upside reversal formations that are more statistically likely to break onto the upside. However, just like whenever you have a falling channel, falling pizza, whatever the fuck these are, they can be walked down to infinity, as you can see right here, and there is no reversal to be spoken about until two things happen. First and foremost is something that we actually might be seeing right now. In fact, I would even be presenting the case that this is rather likely right now. So first, we want to see a higher low around your current lowest low. Something like this would definitely fit the bill. I'm talking about this low right here versus this low right here. Looks like a little like that, you know. Sorry. And then you just go up. Okay, sorry about that. I couldn't help myself. But let's just get those two eyeballs right there. Now, that is your first sort of major indication that something might be going on. Of course, you want to see this being done on volume, which we certainly have right here for the first time in a very long time, actually. And on top of that, or what is the most validating feature of this whole goddamn thing, is simply doing this one little thing, which is, of course, closing above your last major high within that formation. So in this case right here, that would of course be the $52,000 region. I know that some people are going to say, but crown, don't we have this area right here? Yeah, we do have this area right here, but that is, I would not feel that confident with that. And even if Bitcoin does close above that region, which is about 44,240, I do think that that would be the earliest indication that we are going to see that reversal happen. But you'd still probably see something like this, where you get that initial move up, right? Come back up towards this range high, come back down, try for another higher low, and then this is the big one where things actually do start to really move rather fast. So there will be more and more opportunities, at least from the way that I'm looking at things. And again, we'll go into a lot more detail on that tomorrow. I don't think that's going to be relevant for the context of today's video. And of course, that does offer up a very easy way to be managing something like this, because you are going to be treating this as your next higher low, if that is going to be your analysis to begin with, which is about 41,500 or so. So as long as Bitcoin's closing above there, that is sacred. That is solidified sacred. And good guy in the Discord as well, except for that goddamn hex shit, man. Anyways, I don't want to get into that goddamn conversation right now. When pulse is the real question. When pulse? I thought that was supposed to come out in like, well, whatever. I'm not taking my own bait on that conversation, as I have this like weird conversation with myself. Apparently, I am bipolar and got all the different personalities going on here too. All right, cool. Let's get off that damn conversation and let's get on into the shorter term timeframes for this weekend right here. And you do have a very obvious range going on yet again, very similar to what we had yesterday. And the range is played out actually really, really well for yesterday as well. What did we say yesterday? Said if Bitcoin breaks below about 42.5, 42.4, we are looking for a move down somewhere around about 41.5-ish region. We got down to about 41.6 actually yesterday, which is close enough in this case, and then busted right on through that same range to the upside. So ultimately, this is only this is only relevant for extremely low term timeframes. If you're on a more reasonable time frame, like a 4 hour in this case, well, it's no more complicated than this right now, isn't it? You got your highs right here at about 43,900. You got your lows right here at about 41.7. If you want to use it on a closing basis, that's fine as well. Anything between there is going to be within the context of this putting in a higher low right here. So that is overall good, of course. Well, if you are looking for the flip to the upside, but still, where does this actually get fully and formally confirmed? Back above 43,900. Now, I would go as far as saying that this is more of a formality because remember, we already did break the range highs from this priorly, and with Bitcoin coming back down and just setting in a higher low, I look at that as just a part of the current trend, actually. So I think that very likely does fall through. Does it happen over the weekend? I don't know. I really don't have a strong opinion over the weekend. If anything, I really wouldn't even mind another move back down somewhere around low $42,000. But essentially, as long as Bitcoin is closing hourly dildos back above 42, I'm just looking at that as another opportunity and a little bit of a weekend shakeout, a little bit of a weekend washout with continuation likely implied towards the top side of the range. And then, of course, if you do validate it above it, well, where's the next targeted region is going to be around? About 45,500-ish region, right around here. From our last major breakdown, anywhere there in a pocket between about 45.5 and about 46.5 right here, actually. So I'm going to put in a nice little blue box to represent that right now, just so that we can follow up on that. Perhaps, maybe not over the weekend, it might not be super relevant, but perhaps coming into early next week or middle of this coming week. Anyways, with that said, let's go back here to the daily. We already hit around our yellow 21 exponential average target from about 3-4 days ago now, so that is fine. And I would be looking for Bitcoin to kind of chop around there. Again, I don't want to go too deep into this explanation, but I'm basically looking for something similar to what you saw on this price action over here, coming back down to kind of retest the lows. I think that's what we got yesterday, and thus confirming another higher low, and then kind of chop around this region and get ground down over the next few weeks, maybe even another month or so. And at that point, that's when I start to really look at this as potentially putting in the next major massive low. So let's go over here to our daily on the old MACD's nuts. And what do we see? We do see daily MACD has officially crossed the upside 2 days ago. We are now seeing it continue to rise and gain momentum. And what was also interesting about this, and something that we did identify about a week ago, something like that, is that we actually do have 1, 2, 3 drives of bullish divergence on MACD histogram. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of MACD histogram bullish divergence, to be fair, but this would be rather large coming in from, of course, late November lows, then our early December lows, and then our early January lows in this case, which are significantly far away from each other on price action. So having 1, 2, 3 drives of divergence in that direction is typically going to be a good sign. And yes, I do think that plays into the Boo Law's case yet again. I mean, the LARP lines knew it. It's ridiculous. I'm going to get rid of this one because that's not relevant. And then also what I wanted to talk about was, of course, the PMAR trend lines right here that we've been following for a while now as well. Shout out to Mr. Cosmic Whale for this one. He's the one who pointed it out to me, and then I did my own little analysis on it, and it's like, yeah, it works. And what do we have right here? Well, all of these red circles on the downside correlated with this trend line have been, some pretty impressive lows. So I marked all of these off with these vertical blue lines right here. So this one would be actually your flu dump from March 2020, more recent, or not more recent one, but compared to that, more recent in January lows of last year, actually. Then, of course, this low, which was a failed rally attempt, but keep in mind, I mean, this was still, a pretty nice move to the upside, 25% up. Then, of course, the May lows, the summer lows right here, once again initiated one of those reads, as did the bear trap in July, as did the last weekly low in September at 40,000 bucks. Then most recently, this one right here, which is actually not even on target, but there you go. It's not like super exact, but yeah, there it is. And then once again, we've hit that level yet again right here just a few days ago, actually, on the current lows, in fact. So I do like that as another sort of confluential factor that Bitcoin's most likely to bounce from this region, regardless of whether you're bullish or bearish over the next week and a half. Very likely does beget a try somewhere around 45, maybe 46,000 bucks. But ultimately, I'm not looking for this one to bust on through just yet. Still think that this one has a few more weeks of maturing to go before we see anything that is super relevant for the higher term timeframes, of which that would still come back towards $52,000, at least in my opinion. On top of that, let's go back on over here. I didn't even go through lower term time frame oscillators or volatility indicators. But what do you know? We do see volatility is contracting into this little consolidation right here, which is what you would expect. And this does suggest that the range itself does likely have an upside resolution in accordance with the current trend is what's most likely to happen. We see 4-hour Jewel Light showing a little bit of upside momentum, as does, or in the 4-hour RSI is mostly neutral here. I wouldn't really call that a call either which way. And this is probably not looking for resolution outside of this range, maybe not even today, probably more like tomorrow, I would say. And if we go over here to stochastic momentum, I'm just curious to see where we're at right now. And then we'll kind of pull this whole picture through, and you see that 4-hour stochastic momentum will be remaining to the upside as long as Bitcoin's above 42,750. Fair enough. I suppose this is relevant. However, it's the hourly that on the weekends actually does work pretty well, in fact. And just closing this next hourly, which closed in about 2 minutes from now, above 43,000 bucks, will flip this one back onto the upside with volatility very, very low in this time frame. DMI is already there as well. And by the way, I should let you know that you can get this indicator, or you will be able to get this indicator soon, as we're actually going to offer it up. Mr. KBDB has gone through, and well, he wants to share it, I suppose. Which is cool because it's one of the tools that I use every day. So I'm more than happy, as always, I'm more than happy to represent products and stuff that I actually use myself. That's my first major criteria with it. And so what's important about this is that not only where we have all those indications with DMI support first, volatility low, and then hourly turning up, but it would also be a rejection of the bearish control zone here as well. And just for what it's worth, over the weekends, the hourly does seem to get things better, or the best as far as time frame goes, just in in my opinion, or sorry, in my experience. I've actually back tested these things. And it should also be known that on Friday for CME, a lot of very important things actually happened right here. So we did see that 4-hour stochastic momentum is actually having a very, very good setup coming in for Monday, especially probably around the time that New York Stock Exchange opens. We will see it officially flip to the upside above 42,450 and reject the bearish control zone whilst having very low volatility, and the DMI is very close to shifting around there as well. In fact, even just trading back above 43,620, which this one only closed about $300 below on Friday, would in fact do that. So that would start to look pretty damn good. And is there an implied move based off of a formation like this, which is a bit of an it's not an Adam and Eve, it's an even Adam. This is what it actually is right here. Either which way, there is a little bit of that. I'm sure that people are calling this a cup and handle. It's technically not a cup and handle. It actually has a measure move a little bit higher than kind of what I'm postulating right here at about 47,000 bucks. I think that would be a little bit too aggressive to target, at least for myself. I think this area right here is rather high probability. However, on a breakout, for the shorter term timeframes. Of course, should also be known that the 12-hour is still upside momentum here on CME. So again, not relevant over the weekend, but coming into Sunday, Monday especially, yes, it will be. Daily, of course, will be as well. The two-day chart just freshly crossed up, by the way, very fucking important right there, and will be remaining up as long as above 40,000, or 40,250. And then the 5-day and the weekly have all fully corrected down. Now we don't have the new information on this until CME opens up on Sunday at minimum, but I imagine this is going to come down significantly, probably around maybe 45 if it's lucky, but 46 I think is rather likely on both the 5-day and the weekly right there. So that is going to set Bitcoin up for a potential trap situation coming into next week. I'd still take it one step at a time, obviously, and keep in mind that the big bad areas to the upside are still 52 for the higher term timeframes. Shorter term timeframes quite different here, and to be fair, the hourly is showing that I probably do try to the upside here. This, we're actually very likely to get an hourly move to one side of this current range. In this case, it actually does look like the upside of the range is a little bit more likely, to be fair. Anyways, this is all really a setup for the week to come, and basically I'd go as far as saying right now that if you're bullish on Bitcoin, you're looking at this as your next higher low. That's fine, and forgive me if I'm going to be wrong on this one, but I actually do think that that's what's happening right here. It's kind of same thing as what I said yesterday. We're even getting the same price action that it's kind of suggesting yesterday as well. Not to toot my own horn here, but just these things, like, a lot of the time they operate in a very similar manner. So again, I wouldn't have any major rush into position right now for like any long term, because even while Bitcoin probably does do something like this, coming into next week, it's probably going to do something like that and then come back down around lows and then give like the actual move. So yeah, hopefully that was helpful. I'll be signing off now, back on tomorrow with some more long-term macro analysis. With that said, take care, and until next time.